realized this morning while getting dressed that I needed another crafting shirt. Here's what that process looked like. I started out by stealing a shirt from my husband. What's his is mine, right? Next, I started picking out some scraps of vinyl that would match my shirt. I may not need all of them, but it's mostly for inspiration. I'm not going to talk about every step I went through in the design process, but if that's something you'd like to see in the future, be sure to let me know. Wordmark is such a great tool to see what your text looks like in all the fonts you have on your computer, including ones you may have downloaded. I decided to make my own button shape because it's just 5 circles put together. Sometimes I do use a pre-made design or trace a Google image, but if you can, always make your own to avoid copyright. Or you can buy pre-made ones for personal or commercial use. This is the point where I regret not making it a compound path. I later apply it to each button instead of just once now, and then duplicating it. In Silhouette Design Studio, coloring things just help visualize what it will look like in the end. It also helps organize when you need multiple layers or colors. So, fun fact, I'm bad at making things random. For this design, I wanted more buttons randomly around the text. I almost accomplished that. Also, be glad this is cut and sped up. I spent way too long arranging these buttons. Before we start prepping our vinyl, we need to rearrange the design in a way that doesn't waste vinyl. I make a copy of the whole design in another tab to reference to, and rearrange the other. I like to place my parts of the design together by color of vinyl being used. I try to keep each color in groups within a few inches of the mat. Then I cut the vinyl to that size. Sometimes I will do that process the other way around and make my design the size of the vinyl I have available. For example, I noticed I had 2 small strips of white vinyl and not just one big one, so I had to move the buttons around to accommodate that. Now we can place the vinyl on our mat in the same place that we have the colors on the software. I have to stop every now and then to keep referencing what's on the computer to make sure I get it exact. It's finally time to send it to cut. I make sure all of my settings are in order and let the machine do the rest. I noticed that I forgot to mirror my words. I don't worry about reversing the buttons since they look the same forward and backwards. This will make more sense later. While the machine is doing the easy part, I set up everything else I need, like getting my weeding tools ready, washi tape to help with trash, and cutting all of this only took 3 minutes and not fast forward time. I took the cut vinyl off the mat and started by cutting off the excess parts around the images. I save these if they're not too small. Then I started the weeding process, which is where you use a small hook to take away all of the negative space, or parts you don't need. During this time, I like to catch up on my YouTube subscriptions. This process can be very relaxing if you're into tedious tasks, which I am. After my Cricut Easy Press heats up, I do a quick run over the shirt to make sure all of the wrinkles are out, and it heats the shirt up a bit. Finally, we can start prepping the shirt and precariously placing the text and buttons. Well, after I cut the buttons apart, that is. Then I spent a very long time rearranging the buttons. Since I'm a sewer, I just use a piece of fabric as a cover sheet in between the iron and the project. There are a lot of different ways to do this step. And that's it. This is how I make my shirts. How long the whole process takes really depends on how long the design process is, which can be anywhere from 5 minutes to 5 hours.